Hello there, my name is Dylan Dominguez, and this is our Global Climate Change Projects for Geology 11. I did this project with Ruai Ruiz, Joshua Hong, and Tony Kama, and our project is on rising sea levels. So sea levels have been on the rise for years with a few reasons as to why, with one of those reasons being the melting of the world's ice sheets and glaciers. For years, the temperature of the world has been rising due in large part to the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and agriculture. These methods result in a greater buildup of CO2 and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and these greenhouse gases trap sunlight and solar radiation, causing the average global temperature to rise at an increased rate than what it would normally. The melting of glacier sheets from Greenland and Antarctica amount to a two-third total of the increase in sea level. And another reason for sea levels rising is water itself has a high capacity for storing heat, meaning that as the world gets hotter, it absorbs that heat and expands, and this is known as thermal expansion. So some statistics. Global mean sea level has risen 8 to 9 inches since 1880, with roughly a third of that coming from the last 2.5 decades alone. In 2018, global sea level was 3.2 inches higher than in 1993, and sea level continues to rise 1/8 of an inch per year. By the end of the century, global mean sea level is likely to rise at least 1 foot above 2000 levels, even if greenhouse gas emissions follow a relatively low pathway in coming decades, with a much worse case scenario being an increase of up to 8.2 feet above 2000 sea levels by 2100. The effects. Rising sea levels could negatively impact those living in the coastal region or on islands. Just to put this into perspective, 40% of the world's population live within 100 kilometers of the coast, thus meaning a lot of people will be directly impacted by rising sea levels. And rising sea levels can lead to soil erosion, thus threatening houses, farmland, and agriculture. As sea levels rise higher and push further inward, people will be forced to relocate from their homes, and drinking water runs the risk of becoming contaminated. Marine life will also be affected, as wetlands will flood and aquifers will be subject to pollution, thus affecting the flora and fauna. And weather will also be affected, as a higher sea level will cause heavier rains and stronger winds, leading storms to become worse. And these storms will be able to cause more damage as they push further inward than they would otherwise be able to. So the question now becomes, can we fix it? And the answer to that question is and there you guys go. This is actually not an issue that we can really deal with. This is a joke, by the way. In terms of whether or not we can stop sea level rise, while we might not be able to stop it entirely, there are some ways that we can at the very least slow it down or try to limit how much it increases. So as to whether or not we can actually fix the issue, the answer is yes, we can actually do something. So in terms of some solutions, one is geoengineering. Geoengineering aims to remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere and offset climate change by decreasing the amount of sunlight absorbed by the Earth. And two geoengineering methods include iron fertilization and marine cloud brightening. Iron fertilization is the intentional introduction of iron to iron-poor parts of the ocean to stimulate phytoplankton production, and this will accelerate CO2 sequestration. CO2 sequestration is the long-term capture or removal of CO2 from the atmosphere, and marine cloud brightening is increasing cloud reflectivity to offset global warming. These are two geoengineering techniques that we can employ, but aside from geoengineering, possibly the best way for us to try and slow the effects of global warming include trying to reduce our carbon footprints. Carbon footprints are the amount of carbon dioxide and other carbon compounds we emit due to the consumption of fossil fuels. And as we already touched on, greenhouse gases contribute to sea level rise via thermal expansion. They also melt. Greenhouse gases also trap the sunlight and solar radiation, causing thermal expansion and melting of the ice sheets. So just little things like going green can make a difference, but also something that could help is trying to disincentivize carbon production. And an idea or like a way that we could do that is trying to tax people to give them a reason to lower the amount of carbon they put out into the earth, and also give them a reason to try and seek out alternate energy methods. And this has been our project. Thank you for your time.